freedom from fear. When he addressed the US Congress in 1941, President Roosevelt sought to build a world where democracy and the rule of law prevailed, and where the right to live in peace, justice, and human dignity was secure for every person, everywhere in the world. And on this 12th day of May, in recognition of his unwavering determination to seek a better way of life for the people of Iraq, the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Freedom for Fear Medal is awarded to Hussain Ibrahim Salih al-Shahristani. Born in the Shia holy city of Karbala, your passionate interest in science led to a scholarship for study at the Imperial College of London, where you received a BS degree in chemical engineering in 1965. And your studies then brought you to the University of Toronto, where you would earn a Master of Science and Doctor of Philosophy in nuclear chemistry. In 1970, you returned to Iraq with your beloved Canadian wife, Bernice, to join Iraq's Atomic Energy Commission in the pursuit of the peaceful use of nuclear technology, eventually becoming the Commission's chief scientific advisor. And then came the tumultuous year of 1979, which brought revolution to neighboring Iran and Saddam Hussein to power in Baghdad. And this was also the year that you made one of the most courageous and fateful decisions of your life, to speak truth to power. And the world would soon learn that Saddam Hussein was no ordinary strongman, but a brutal dictator who, in the wake of the Iranian Revolution, would arrest thousands of your fellow citizens suspected of disloyalty to his oppressive regime. And he would also order Iraq's Atomic Energy Commission to begin work on the development of nuclear weapons. You refused to go along with this order, and what's more, decided to speak out publicly against it and against the human rights violations being perpetrated by Saddam. Your audacity soon brought you arrest and torture and 10 years of solitary confinement in Iraq's notorious Abu Ghraib prison. With no reading or writing materials, you spent your years praying, thinking of Bernice, and solving puzzles designed in your mind. Eventually, you were moved out of solitary confinement and, in the confusion of a nighttime bombing raid during the First Gulf War, managed to steal the uniform and car of the prison's chief security officer and make your escape, soon to cross the border with your family to Iran. Your imprisoned escape and newfound status as a refugee would reshape your life and deepen your commitment to human rights. And in 1995, you established the Iraqi Refugee Aid Council to help the millions of Iraqis who had fled to camps in Iran. 5 years later, you would move to London, the center of opposition to Saddam's regime, where you would continue your aid work and continue to speak out against his violation of human rights. With the downfall of Saddam in 2003, you returned. You returned to the place of your birth to continue the work of the IRAC, and you then took up a post as head of the Iraqi Academy of Sciences and served as a visiting professor at the University of Surrey outside of London. But your dedication to the establishment of a free and democratic Iraq drew you back to serve as a member of the Iraqi Parliament and first deputy chairman of the Iraqi National Assembly. And here, your call for religions and ethnic tolerance earned you the respect of Shia, Sunni, and Kurd alike. It wasn't long before you were asked to join the newly elected government, first as the all-important Minister for Oil, and today as Deputy Prime Minister for Energy Affairs. 33 years ago, a brutal dictator tried to silence your call for human rights. And since that, you have been working on it. Since that time, you have endured torture, imprisonment, exile, But through all out of this, you never gave in to the bitterness or hatred and never lost faith in the capacity of your fellow citizens to fashion a new democratic Iran. And your dedication to that vision, to the building of a country where freedom from fear is a reality for all of its citizens, is why we honor and thank you today. And to me personally, it's a great honor to present this award to you, and I would like to ask to invite Mr. Ibrahim Al-Ali to join me here on the forum.
Excellencies, fellow laureates, ladies and gentlemen, I'm greatly honored and deeply moved to be nominated to the Franklin Roosevelt Freedom from Fear Award. I consider this as recognition of the Iraqi people who have struggled so fearlessly for their freedom from tyranny and dictatorship more than a personal award. I confronted my fears in December 1979 when I had to make a choice either to work on Saddam's nuclear weapon program or pay a price. The choice was simple, and the price turned out to be 11 years and 3 months in prison. When I made the choice, it did not cross my mind that I would have to explain myself and my decision to such a distinguished audience. Then I was more concerned with how to explain my decision to my interrogators. After graduation with a degree in nuclear science, I returned to my home country to put my knowledge in the service of the people. The regime wanted me to work on military nuclear program. I declined and explained that my scientific knowledge and training was not in the field of bomb making. After severe torture, the head of the Iraqi intelligence forcefully told me that it is a man's duty to serve his country, and whoever is not willing to serve his country does not deserve to be alive. I was lying motionless on the floor. I just looked up at him and I said, I agree. It is a man's duty to serve his country, but what you are asking me to do is not a service to my country. I was then taken to solitary confinement where I was kept for 10 years. However, I was luckier than tens of thousands of my countrymen who lost their lives in their struggle for freedom. It is heartening to see Iraq, after all these sacrifices, is now free and strives to build a pluralistic society with full commitment to the 4 freedoms that President Roosevelt had advocated. What is more heartening is to see young men and women in the Arab world rising up and demanding these freedoms. Different regions of the world with different cultures may have different concepts of good governance and may follow different routes to achieve it. But there are basic principles, such as Roosevelt's 4 freedoms, equality between men and women, equality under the law, respect and protection of minorities are common to all societies. We all share responsibility to uphold the same standards of universal human rights and to stand by those who cry for them wherever they are. The Arab people have peacefully and fearlessly stood up to bring down dictators, but this remains a step. Without establishing democratic systems with full respect for the human, political, and economic rights of all citizens, the uprisings would not reach their objectives. The people of the Middle East, as they endeavor to build free societies, feel highly threatened by weapons of mass destruction, whether present or potential. And it is important, if we dream of a world without fear, to call on all countries in the region to attend the conference organized by the IAEA in Helsinki next December to discuss the establishment of weapons of mass destruction free zone in the Middle East. May I use this occasion to call from this podium on fellow scientists around the world to refrain from working on weapons of mass destruction. Such weapons will not enhance national security, but rather encourage rulers to be more aggressive and less compromising in solving international problems. Instead of using our talents to develop such weapons, we should strive to uphold and spread democracy, justice, equality, the rule of law, tolerance, mutual respect, developing people-centered policies, and sustainable environmental practices. Thank you for the honor.